this is Meredith from vidpromom.com, and today I'm answering a super common question about which SD memory cards to buy for your GoPro camera. If you're completely new to using a GoPro and buying SD cards, then there's a couple of things that you're going to want to know. And even if you're not completely new, you're still going to want to know all the basics about the SD cards, because you never know when you leave yours at home or you're out on vacation and your cards are full, you need to buy another one. You need to know which ones to buy. And you might think, oh, I need to buy a new memory card for my GoPro. I will just buy the latest and greatest one that's available. But the reality is your GoPro model may not be compatible with the latest and greatest memory card available. And if you're wondering what would happen if you happen to use your GoPro with a card that wasn't recommended, well, first of all, if it ends up working for you, that's great. So just use what works. A card that's not compatible with your GoPro may cause the GoPro to not record at all, or only record for a few seconds and then stop recording, or it may even record an entire video and then you go back and find in your footage that it has dropped frames or entire sections of your video. So it's always good to do a test run with your card and your GoPro just to make sure everything's gonna work out fine for you. First of all, when you're out shopping for an SD card, or if you're shopping online, you might see some symbols on the packaging like a camera or a phone, or it might even say that it's compatible with action cameras like a GoPro. But not all GoPro models are compatible with the same memory card. So it's best to not rely on those symbols and actually figure out what all the specs are on the memory card to see if it's going to be compatible with your GoPro. And one thing to mention, in case it's not completely obvious, we're talking about micro SD cards. These are the tiny cards that are about the size of a small fingernail. They usually come with an adapter so that you can put it right into your memory card slot on your computer, or sometimes they'll come with an adapter that goes into a USB port. And there are a lot of numbers and acronyms and things flying around when you start looking at memory cards. There are speed classes and ultra speed classes and SDHC and SDXC, and there's UHS1 or U1, and there's UHS2 or U3, confusingly. And then there's the capacity, like 32 gigabytes or 64 gigabytes. And then there are brand names or off-brand names. So first of all, let's talk about speed. You might see on your micro SD card a number 10 with a circle C around it. It looks like a circle, but it's actually a C. Every single GoPro camera needs to have a memory card that is a speed class of 10. And if you look at some of the micro SD cards that you already own, you might even see a U with a 1 in it or a U with a 3 in it. And if you happen to have a card that has a U1 on it or a U3 but doesn't have the 10 with the C, that's fine too. It still meets the minimum speed requirements to use with the GoPro. But what does that even mean? What are we talking about with speed? Well, we're talking about the right speed of the card. GoPros are finicky when it comes to the speed because you're capturing high definition video. You might even be capturing all the way up to 4K. You might also be capturing really high frame rates in your videos. So the camera needs to have a memory card in there that can literally keep up with the speed of the camera so that the camera can continue capturing your videos and your photos and taking in and storing that data onto the memory card. So we're talking about the right speed there. And you may have a card that tells you the maximum read speed. The read speed is essentially how fast you can transfer your files from that card onto your hard drive when you go to pull your files off and edit them. It's okay if your card doesn't tell you what the read speed is. For compatibility with the GoPro, we're only talking about the right speed. So let's talk about card types and capacity. So typically you're going to be looking for a memory card that has a capacity of 16 gigabytes or 32 gigabytes or 64 gigabytes, even 128 maybe. And at some point in the future, we may even be seeing 256 gigabytes as the norm. All of the SD cards I own are either 32 gigabytes or 64 gigabytes, and I find that what I film and where and when I film with my GoPro, I don't really need much more than that. I don't need a bigger card than 64 gigabytes at any given time. But for the most part, 32 and 64 are probably the most popular capacity sizes for SD cards for GoPro cameras. And your SD card will typically have either a symbol for SDHC, standing for high capacity, or SDXC, standing for extended capacity. And this has to do with the format of the card and its capabilities for capacity. capacity. And although GoPros that have been released in the past 3 years or so are compatible with most 32 gigabyte cards, not all of them are compatible with cards at 64 gigabytes. If you own a GoPro Hero, that's the basic no frills model, then you can go up to 32 gigabytes. Look for a card that says micro SDHC on it. So other than that basic Hero model, you should be fine with a card up to 64 gigabytes. So which brands should we be looking at for our SD cards? There are certain name brands that GoPro recommends on their website, like Samsung, SanDisk, and Lexar. You don't have to buy a name brand manufacturer, but honestly, when it comes to the difference between capturing your footage and not capturing your footage, I like to err on the side of a trusted brand name. So for SanDisk, you'd be looking at the Extreme or Extreme Plus cards. And for Lexar, you'd be looking at the 633X models. And then if you want to go with Samsung, you'd be looking at the Pro. And obviously, all of this is subject to change because that's what technology does. It changes over time. But you can always check with GoPro.com for compatibility between your model GoPro and the SD card that you're looking to buy. And of course, I'll include some links to the memory cards that I own and the ones that are recommended by GoPro in the post that goes along with this video. If you have any questions or experience with choosing SD cards for your cameras, please leave me a comment below. I would be happy to answer questions, and I'm always open to learning more about SD cards because this is a technology that really confuses me, quite honestly. And I will keep my website up to date. That way, anytime GoPro comes out with a new camera, or if there's other brands and other types of cards that become recommended by GoPro, then I can update that post there. So vidpromom.com/GoPro SD cards is where you'll be able to find the most up-to-date information on choosing an SD card for your GoPro camera. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hey, it's me again. I just want to personally invite you over to my Facebook group. It's called GoPro Enthusiasts, and I created it just for GoPro enthusiasts. It's basically tips and tricks and inspiration and a place to help each other out when you're stuck on something related to using your GoPro or editing your videos from your GoPro or anything like that. It's not affiliated with GoPro at all. It's actually hosted and administered by yours truly. And if you head over to GoProenthusiasts.com, then I'll give you all the instructions and stuff for how to join. All I ask is that you don't spam the group or try to promote your own YouTube channel or blog or business or whatever, unless you ask me first and I give you permission. That's all. Spam-free Facebook group for GoPro enthusiasts, okay? See you there. Bye.